Thank you, Brian, and to the MEIA, and thank you to all of you for being here today. I'm grateful for your time and for your commitment to energy innovation in the state of Maryland. My name is Adam Landsman. I'm the president of PulseIQ, and I'm going to talk about how our energy management solution can help improve building performance with the power of data analytics. And I want to start by illustrating the scale of the opportunity we're working to address. Buildings account for 40% of the energy consumed every year in the US, and 30% of that energy is wasted. This means every year our buildings waste about 12 quadrillion BTUs of energy. That's a 12 with 15 zeros after it. Financially, it's about $150 billion. Another way to think about it is that our buildings waste as much energy as Brazil uses every year. And Brazil is the 8th highest energy consuming nation on Earth. So we see opportunity in addressing this needless waste, and that's why I'm excited to tell you about the profits that can be unlocked by property technology like PulseIQ. PulseIQ's energy management solution is specifically designed to address the needs of master meter multifamily properties like condos, co-ops, and apartments. This is an underserved market for 3 reasons. First, most other service providers in the space are going after bigger fish like Class A office towers, hospitals, and universities. Second, and I can tell you from personal experience, it's notoriously tough to motivate property managers and owners who often lack the manpower and resources for what have traditionally been expensive and complicated deployments. And third, a lot of the existing hardware solutions, especially around smart thermostats, just aren't compatible with the type of older HVAC equipment you find in these apartments. They don't work without Wi-Fi, and most of these buildings almost never have that Wi-Fi. So we know that energy is typically the single largest cost center for master meter multifamily buildings, and that HVAC is the single largest consumer of energy. We also know that today these buildings are facing what I call a perfect storm of financial pressures. They're struggling with aging infrastructure, competition for more modern architecture, and now with COVID, residents are using even more energy and not paying rent. So the question is, what's the most profitable way to address these pain points? And the answer is simple: go where the money is. Go after that 30% waste. Now, you've heard the phrase, you can't manage what you can't measure. And that's exactly the problem here. Central HVAC operations and energy efficiency are a giant black box. In a property with an antiquated building automation system, or often none at all, managers and owners can only know if their systems are running or not running, but they have no way to see how efficiently their HVAC systems are running or how efficiently they could be running. Put another way, they don't know that they're losing money, they don't know how much money they're losing, and they don't know how to stop. And we know that most buildings, especially these master meter multifamily buildings, are unwittingly throwing 30% of their energy out the window, literally. Next slide. PulseIQ's energy management solution opens up that black box. We use the power of IoT and data and analytics to make invisible problems visible and therefore manageable. The simplest way to explain how we do what we do is that we connect, collect, and conserve. So we connect to every piece of equipment and a wide range of sensors in the mechanical room. We connect to every apartment with our unique patented mesh network thermostats, which are compatible with the equipment you find in older apartments and work without the need for Wi-Fi or other IT infrastructure anywhere in the building. We collect millions of rows of data from all of these endpoints and send it securely to the cloud and make it visible to the clients with a web-based dashboard. And we conserve energy with our software that provides real-time system optimization, monitoring and alarms, and actionable energy analytics. The result is an optimized building that's always running at peak efficiency. So what does optimization yield? First and foremost, we increase net operating income, NOI, and we increase property values. So we deliver verifiable energy cost savings, and we typically find that about 15% or half of that 30% waste is really easily achievable, low-hanging fruit. In terms of property value, if you calculate property value as NOI, that net operating income divided by the capitalization rate, so NOI divided by cap rate, and we assume a cap rate of about 5% for these types of buildings in this area, that means for every $10,000 of savings that we render, we add $200,000 to the value of the building. Think about that for a moment. Now, in terms of maintenance costs, our online dashboards create visibility across the HVAC system, from the mechanical room to the apartments. Our early warning alarms catch problems before they become critical failures, and all of this reduces downtime and emergencies and all the overtime maintenance costs that go along with that, and it extends the useful life of the equipment. Regarding tenant satisfaction, study after study has shown that green buildings offer tenants more comfort and satisfaction, leading directly to higher rent and less turnover. Clients also get new marketing opportunities around sustainability that will really resonate with that key millennial market and help maintain competitiveness with newer buildings. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at how this plays out in the real world. This is our beta site. It's a 91-unit mid-rise apartment building in Arlington. In 2019, this property spent about $16,000 to cool the building for their 5-month cooling season. Our system showed us that not only was this inefficient, but what needed to be done to fix it. And as a result of these fixes, this year, their cooling system is running 63% more efficiently. Over the course of the season, it's going to save them about $10,000. And again, if we assume that the cap rate is 5%, this $10,000 savings, an increase in NOI, is going to increase the value of this property by about $200,000. The payback on what we did was less than a year, and without any utility incentives. Unfortunately, they're in Virginia, but if they were in Maryland, these types of improvements could have generated a rebate from PEPCO of about $20,000. And also, this is just phase one. This is the lowest of the low-hanging fruit. There's a lot more savings that we'll capture over time as we gain experience with the property and as we expand our capabilities. Next slide, please. So looking at the competition, there's an active market around energy management, and that's a good thing. However, what I typically see are that other solutions are either very narrow plays, or they're trying to be everything to everybody, and they wind up without a coherent value proposition or product. At PulseIQ, we offer an easily consumable, managed solution specifically built for the needs of the master meter multifamily market. Like other solutions, we have a building automation system at the core of our solution, but ours is built with robust and affordable and open source hardware rather than the expensive and proprietary systems that really haven't changed much since the 1980s. We also provide unique visibility into the apartments with our patented mesh network thermostats. However, unlike our competitors in the thermostat space, our thermostats work on high voltage equipment commonly found in these buildings, and we have some patents around that. And they don't require any Wi-Fi or other IT infrastructure, and we have some patents around that as well, with more coming. Now, a lot of companies these days are offering analytics, but they're only valuable if they're useful to the target audience. And our analytics are designed for the unique needs of managers and engineers and owners in the multifamily space. And finally, we offer a comprehensive managed service, which means our clients don't need to worry about multiple vendors, multiple contracts, and there can't be any finger pointing when things don't work. Taken together, we offer a comprehensive, easily consumable, and unique value proposition for the multifamily real estate market. Next slide. So in terms of our business model, we have a highly scalable solution, and it's designed to be cash flow positive for our clients. We have a low upfront cost to deploy, and we provide verifiable cost savings, which from our experience are typically about twice the amount of our monthly service fee. And we help clients capture utility incentives, which are really just icing on the cake. Right now, we're focused on the DC market, where we're all based, but we hope to expand to other jurisdictions with building energy performance standards, places like New York and Philadelphia, and now places like St. Louis and the state of New Jersey. These efficiency mandates are increasingly common because policymakers understand the important role that energy efficiency plays in supporting local economies, in meeting sustainability goals, and addressing issues of social and racial justice, which is something I really wish we had more time to go into today. Next slide. Taking a look at our team, we have an exceptional group of people with deep market and domain expertise. Our founder is the legendary inventor Emilio A. Fernandez. He's a member of University of Maryland Clark School of Engineering's Innovation Hall of Fame and namesake for their new E.A. Fernandez Ideas Factory. Across the rest of our team, we bring experience from world-class consulting firms, property management, Silicon Valley, the DoD, and mechanical engineering. And we're also extremely grateful for the expertise provided by our MEIA team, Nikki, Pari, and Eric. I wish I had more time to properly thank them all for their excellent work. Next slide. So what's the ask? First, we're always open to grant and sponsorship opportunities. Second, we are open to connecting with relevant industry partners. Our experience shows us that we're a natural fit with ESCOs, with consulting engineers and mechanical engineers. And finally, if you are aware of any property owners or management firms who you think could benefit from our solution, we'd love an introduction. I'll leave you with the words of former Energy Secretary and Nobel laureate Dr. Stephen Chu, who said, "Energy efficiency is not just low-hanging fruit, it's fruit lying on the ground." And at PulseIQ, we're excited to help our clients pick it up. Thank you all again for your time today. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Adam. Why don't we start with Curtis?
Thank you, Adam. It was a really good presentation, and I agree, this is a massive market that is ripe for disruption. My first question is, how are you going to market? Are you selling B2C as a standalone system, or do you think you'll be more successful in selling B2C, or B2B, excuse me, as a component to a larger solution provided by an ESCO or a company like SparkFund?
Right, so that's a great question. Thank you, Curtis. We're focused mostly on B2B. So my experience is in the property management field. I helped run my family's multifamily real estate management firm for about the last 10 years. And I'm using my relationships in the real estate market here to talk to management companies and property owners that I know. We're working partnerships with consulting engineers, so folks that are speccing out retrofits on large plant equipment, and they're bringing us into the project because we help them make sure that their systems operate as designed. And we find that we've been having good success with mechanical engineers. So the folks that are turning the wrench and doing the preventative maintenance that have these clients, we have a value add for them as well in our partnership. So we've been trying to approach it from all of those ways. And I think the next step for us is to work with ESCOs who are hired by properties to save energy, and we'd be a really good tool in their quiver, especially an arrow in their quiver, pardon me, especially around this type of niche market. And then, of course, you know, we are focused on a rather narrow market, but the goal is that as we expand our capabilities and our experience, that we can expand into other markets as well.
Claire?
Yeah, hi, thanks, Adam. Good presentation.
Thanks, Claire.
I see a lot of presentations like this, and I applaud that you're looking at multifamily, but I don't understand your differentiation with companies like Lucid or Building IQ or Aquacore. Can you dig into a little more detail? I saw your competition slide, but it didn't really resonate with me.
Sure. So I think we have a couple of unique differentiators. One is our availability to appeal to this niche market. Having worked in this space for a long time, I can tell you a lot of the buildings I worked with had a BAS that was 20 years old or none at all. And so there's a lot of room to get in there. And the question is, why isn't it happening? You know, why aren't people doing things that are good for them? If we're presenting basically free money, who doesn't like money? And I think the answer is just people aren't making the right appeal to these building owners. They don't know how to pitch to them. They don't know how to get in with them. And that's something that I think we have a unique angle on. Two, our thermostats are relatively unique. So in these old buildings, you'll typically see these old round Honeywell thermostats that you turn left or right. And the reason that they've never been replaced is because they have high voltage connections to the equipment in the apartments. So most of the other players in the space have low voltage only. You know, Nest does not work in these situations. The Ecobee stuff does not work in these situations. So we have some patented technology that allows us to work on line voltage, both 2 and 3 wire. And I think that, you know, the other reason that we're different is that we have a managed solution. So instead of just playing just for analytics or just for a BAS, we tie the whole package together, which makes it consumable for the managers. And, you know, if you look at an analytics solution, they're going to tell you what to do, but then somebody else has to go and do it. Whereas we can tell you what to do and then actually turn the switch to make it happen.
Thanks.
Hi, Adam. This is Michael. Nice job. Well communicated pitch. My question for you is a particular segment of the master meter multifamily market, which is a string of words I never thought I would say together, particularly attractive. Are you looking for areas where there are energy efficiency mandates or some other indicator, or is it more of like where your network is?
So right now, I mean, we're all in the DC area, but the District of Columbia does have a building energy performance standard. And so they are requiring that any building within their market space, and multifamily is one of their segments, that fall below the median score for energy efficiency across that segment has to improve, or they face fines of up to $30,000. So in DC, there's a stick that's telling property owners, get with it or else. And then in other places like Maryland, there are just really generous incentives. Pepco has a wonderful program in Maryland that will give property owners 25% or up to $8,000 for their first, for the 25% of their 3-year contract costs. And so we typically see those incentives and those mandates go hand in hand, and those mandates are growing. So we think there's a lot of opportunity to basically sell to people that have never thought about doing this before, because now A, they have to, and B, it's financially appealing to them.
Curtis, we have time for another round.
Great. I guess a question about your product roadmap. What type of innovation do you still need to work on to further develop your or refine your product?
Mm-hmm.
And then given some of the competitors that Claire mentioned, I agree, the market is flooded with a bunch of different solutions, both hardware or software enabled. How do you really cut through the noise to differentiate yourself in this space?
That's a great question. So there's a lot that we're doing on product development. One of the things that we are looking to do is expand the type of equipment that our thermostat serves. And I think that's an important task for us, because that'll allow us to get into different types of buildings and different types of segments. And in terms of how do we cut through the noise, I think, because there are so many players, there's a bit of a long tail. There's a lot of room for a lot of people to be out there in the space. And I think when we show results like we're showing from our beta site of reducing their HVAC costs for the summer by 63%, that sells itself in a lot of regard. In the DC area, there just really aren't a lot of companies that are focused on this particular segment. And I think you're going to find that's true across the country. And I think one of the ways that we get into them is focusing on industry partnerships with the trade associations that focus on this building space, like the Community Associations Institute or the Property Management Association.
Claire?
What partnerships are you developing right now with different ESCOs, recognizing that a lot of ESCOs have products just like this, and typically ESCOs shy away from multifamily because of the incentive structure problem?
Correct. Yeah, we're still looking to find our first couple of fits with ESCOs. We've been most successful lately working with consulting engineers and mechanical engineers. So Claire, if you know any ESCOs that have shied away from multifamily, tell them they don't have to anymore.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Michael?
How do building management companies, and I think you'd be particularly well suited to answer this given your background, how do building management companies make these sorts of decisions on installing equipment and changing their practices like this? And what payback times are they looking for? Earlier you highlighted a year, but I'm wondering how I should think about that.
Right. So, as a property management company, it depends. Some folks, it depends on what level of the company you're looking at. So the manager sitting at the desk of the building, his job is to lease apartments. He doesn't really care. But the asset management folks, a lot of these companies have sustainability teams now. They're looking at utilities, and they have a financial incentive to drive down costs and increase the NOI for the building, for the property owner that they're working on behalf of. So what was the second part of your question, Michael?
Are there specific payback times that they're looking for?
Generally, 3 years or less is considered a good investment. Our deployment tends to be quite a bit less than that, and with utility incentives, even less.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you.
And